This week's Torah portion contains perhaps the greatest chapter in the entire Torah, the 19th chapter of the book of Leviticus. This ark, this eternal light, come from the old temple building at Poplar and Montgomery. Next time you're driving downtown, going west, look to your left, you'll see emblazoned, engraved, above the entryway of the old temple edifice, "You shall love your neighbor as yourself. I am the Lord." This chapter is right smack in the middle of the Torah. There are 5 books, so go to book 3, go to the middle of book 3, and you get this known as the Holiness Code. According to some authorities in Judaism, the Holiness Code is the most exalted statement of Jewish ethics anywhere in the Bible. Some say it even surpasses the significance of what's above the ark, the 10 Commandments themselves. And it's called the Holiness Code because Leviticus 19 begins with the statement, "Kedoshim tihiyu ki kadosh ani Adonai Elohechem." You shall be holy, for I, the Lord your God, am holy. The concept of holiness is basic to the message of any religion, but in Judaism it means something a bit different. Holiness in Judaism is not just a matter of how much a person prays or how much he or she talks about religion. Holiness isn't the pageantry of this morning's royal wedding. Holiness, if you want to look at today's headline and understand holiness in Judaism, it's the response we're seeing to the worst twister toll since 1932. In Judaism, holiness is nothing less than the imitation of God himself. This is the very meaning of the charge, "You shall be holy." Why? Because I, the Lord your God, am holy. In a magnificent midrash directly related to this verse, the early rabbis observed that Leviticus 19 instructs people to follow after the Lord your God. But come on, how can anyone do that if God is beyond us? How could an ordinary person like you, or how could I follow after God? Only, they explained, by emulating God, by healing the hurt, by doing what divine conduct requires, by being loving, merciful, and good. In a powerful midrash, another one, Joshua asks Elijah, "When will the Messiah come? When will the Messianic age be here?" And Elijah, who supposedly is the guy who's going to announce it, replies, "Go and ask him yourself." "Where is he?" Joshua asks. "He sits at the entrance to the city gates," Elijah replies in this Jewish sacred story. "And how will I be able to recognize the Messiah who's going to announce the Messianic age?" Joshua asks. "He is sitting among the poor lepers, bandaging their sores one at a time." "What do you want me to do, God?" some people ask. God's answer is, "I want you to look among the lepers. I want you to find holiness in the places you wouldn't be caught dead in the places where you normally avert your gaze." We get so caught up in our own stuff. We get so caught up in the frenzy of a ball game or a ceremony, and we forget that the Messianic age rests among the lepers, and that's where holiness is. The rabbis noted how God, if you think about this, God himself demonstrated the priority of taking care of each other. On the first page of the Torah, the first chapters of Genesis, what does God do? He doesn't just create Adam, he gives him clothes. God clothed the naked Adam. And what does God do on the last page of the Torah? He buries the dead. He buries Moses. And what does God do in between those pages? He heals the sick. He brings freedom to the captive. He acts justly and is merciful, both to the living and to the deceased. It's these qualities in Judaism that are the real links between God and humanity. That is holiness, not some flowery, abstract virtue. It can be an operating principle in the life of every human being. That's why the words which follow, "You shall be holy," include support for the disadvantaged, reverence for parents, respect for the elderly, prompt wages for fair labor, honorable business agreements, no slander or hurting people with vicious gossip, love of one's neighbor, hospitality to the stranger, equal justice for rich and poor. Holiness, we learn this week, is not about withdrawing from the world, but a courageous and constant struggle to live in this broken world, to improve the world. It's not about withdrawing on a mountaintop and finding holiness. It's about engaging, improving, humanizing the community and the world entrusted to us. And by this standard, holiness is not only God's business, it's everybody's business. This means bringing more holiness into our lives, not just by attending this service, which I'm grateful you did, that we have such a great crowd in the Danziger Chapel, but it's not just about attending the service. It's about bringing holiness into our lives every day of the week. It's not just the words and the rituals, important as they are. It's our whole approach to life. And for Judaism, religion can be nothing less than an entire approach to life. Faith grounded in imitating God through moral action. We learn from Kedoshim that holiness means the fulfillment of deeds which encompass every aspect of human relationship. Finally, this is a southern Torah portion because it doesn't say you shall be holy, it says y'all shall be holy. Kedoshim tihiyu, that's plural, it's not singular in the Hebrew. You miss that when you read the English Bible. It's y'all. And what it means is that we can be worthy of attaining holiness only if we merge our personalities into the larger community. It is in the community that we become holy. It is with others that we shape our relationships and practices. The ultimate mission, in closing, that the Torah puts before us, the purpose of our life that can give it meaning is this: in everything we think and do, we are to strive to be holy like God. What a privilege, what an obligation. And let us say, Amen.